This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball's app makes it easy to keep up to date with transfer news, scores and stats all in the one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. The app is free. To watch more of this video, get over and join us on Patreon.
Welcome to Toffee TV. This is a brand new show for Patreon. Now we know you love the footy show. And we love talking about footy, but we thought it was about time we had a dedicated show to the Premier League. That's where Everton play. You know, get in there, get into the stories. Because I think what's happened is the footy show was created to just show the world of footy, everything. You know, we created it for the radio, and it was all about mad story. I know Everton and Liverpool dominated it, but it was always loved some of the mad stories, didn't we? I think recently on the footy show we've lost a little bit of sight of that. Because there's so much to talk about. So we thought, you know what? Let's split it. Let's put all the Premier League stuff in one show so we know what we're doing and get all the footy show stuff in the other. So this is the Premier League show. So let's get into it. The big news of the week. Stop looking at my amazing Photoshop work.
Look how excited he was.
He's the proper Man United, isn't he?
He's literally... He's not a good listener.
I made that, by the way. Joe didn't make it. I made that.
That's why we've got it ready.
That's why it's here. That's why. Look, boss.
Waiting.
Big news of the week. Probably David Wagner has left Huddersfield by mutual consent. Now, apparently, it is mutual consent. He wanted to go at the end of the season. He was... he felt like he'd done as much as he could with them, which is fair enough because you know he's done a tremendous job, which we'll talk about in a moment. But they basically said to him, "Well, you're probably better going now then." And I don't think they meant that. Well, I don't really know, but I imagine with the relationship he's got, that wasn't a case of, "Well, go now." Then it was more like, "Well, if you're not feeling it, then you might as well just go now, mate. Just get off. Just get yourself off. Have an early start."
I think they've still got to play Liverpool, haven't they?
Yeah,
I know you're not going to expect much at Anfield, but the chairman probably thought, well, it'd be nice to actually try to get something.
Well, for a little bit of decency, you know, in the Premier League.
You know, you want to keep it as you know, as above board as possible. So getting rid of Wagner means that they might actually try against Liverpool for once, rather than saying, "Listen, lads, me mate manages them, so just bend over." Yeah, listen, if he, at the end of the day, if he's the one who's steering the ship and he doesn't feel motivated enough, there's still 16 games left. It's going to take a humongous task for them to get out of it, because simply they don't score enough goals. They didn't score enough goals last season, and they haven't done anything about that this season. So it's going to be a big ask to get them out of where they are. I mean, I was just looking at the league table before. They're already 8 points away from Cardiff. Or sorry, 7 points adrift from Cardiff. 8 points away from Cardiff, who was 17th. So that's one of their rivals, and already they're 3 wins away from them. So they just haven't got enough goals. They've scored, well, they're minus 24 at the moment in the Premier League after 22 games. So maybe they're looking and thinking, well, you're going anyway. Yeah. We might be able to get someone in now we can work with the players, get a little bit of a bounce. The problem is, if someone comes in who they employ and they don't get that bounce, where does that leave that fella taking them forward next season? Do you know what I mean? It's like a bit, I suppose, didn't Solskjaer go into Cardiff with like a section of games at the end of one season and a section at the start of the next, and it didn't work and he got rid of him? And it's like, is it better just...
Well, they said they'll announce their new manager Sunday. It doesn't sound like there's too much of a fight for that job. Allardyce, who a lot of people thought would go straight in there, you know, has already said, I couldn't do nothing with this.
Has he?
In other words, they haven't offered me the job.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he could, though.
I don't think he could, and then if he couldn't, then you're right, it'd be like, well, what do you do now? I mean, I don't know. There's been no real whispers. I imagine they might appoint someone that is ready for the championship. Because I mean, if you appoint someone, sort of, listen, they'll give it all. We'll get, you know, they'll come out and say, we'll do everything we can to keep them up and blah blah blah, and they might get a little bounce. I don't know. I don't think it would be enough. But you're setting yourself up, as you just said, for a fall. But if you get someone in who's like, well, I'll get in there, I'll see what I can do. But you're almost saying, well, this is a Championship manager, but he gets that little bit of Premier League experience while he's here. Then, you know,
as long as the fans understand, well, I'm saying that they wouldn't, because they're probably quite realistic, and they've had a season longer than they probably thought they were going to have at one stage last season. I mean, that night at Chelsea at the end of last season, the keeper made about 4 brilliant saves and kept them in it.
Yeah.
If they'd have gone, to that point, kept them up. If they'd have lost that night, they were gone.
Well, let's be honest,
So,
they've been basically poor for a year, haven't they? The slide started around this time last year. They'd had a terrific start to the season, and that's what kept them up. So for a year they've done nothing. They haven't bought anyone of note. They haven't bought a goal scorer. They haven't even really tried to buy a goal scorer. I don't think they haven't even looked like in the lower leagues.
Championship.
Yeah, and thought, right, well, we'll go and get him because he scored a few goals. They've just, I don't know, they've bought poorly. And this is where they are now.
Do you put any blame on Wagner?
I do and I don't. I do feel like he is, like you just said there, he's a bit of a bend over merchant. Like he's sort of like, oh, we did well today, we didn't win, oh, that's just the way it is. And I think sometimes that can get to places where it's like, does this fella want to win, or does he just want to play football all the time?
I was just going to say that Sunderland documentary when McGibbon was talking about Chris Coleman. I'm not saying Coleman was like, it doesn't matter, but McGibbon said, didn't he, and for anyone who hasn't watched it, he was like coming in and laughing, and that he's just been battered 4-0, and there's like he's not like having a go at anyone, and he said, you know, you want to feel like the manager's asked. If your manager's a bit like, Wagner might just be, people might say, well, hang on, he's probably just a realist, right? And that's great, but football isn't about realism.